Hey everybody, this is Jose Blasco. We are about to start the session. Please go ahead and with a quick message on the chat box, confirm if you hear my voice. This is a sound check. Let's have a quick message on the chat box so I know you hear me well and we are ready to start. Thank you so much. Very nice to hear. Thank you so much, Pansy. Here we go. We are just reaching the top of the hour. Actually, it's not the top of the hour. It's 11:30 morning hours New York time. So 30 would be our top of the hour, if you wish, which is the time to start the session. Good. Ruben, how are you? Good to see you as well. Welcome to the session, everybody. We're going to get started right here, right now. It's time to begin. I will turn on the camera so I can say a quick hello to all of you. How are you, my friends? Today is 16th of April 2020, and we are getting together today for longer term trading. My name is Jose Blasco. I will be your guide. And as always, before we begin, we always have a disclaimer to read for you. So we'll do that quickly so that way we start. Disclaimers. The following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through a demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. And that's the introduction. So we are now officially introduced into the session. Here is TradeStation, and we are ready to go. So let me take a look at the list of questions, comments. Mark, good to see you. Roy, good to see you. And by the way, Roy, I need to apologize to you specifically because I do have an email pending to respond to you. It's just been crazy in recent times, and it has nothing to do with trading or anything like that. It's just personal logistics. I've been moving from one place to another one. You can see that now I am able to utilize the video stream again. And it's just been a bit crazy on my end. So I apologize for that, but I will get back to you. And your email is actually quite important and relevant. So I'm feeling not too good that I haven't been able to respond to you on time. Okay, so sorry for that, but I am aware of your email and I'll get back to you. Okay, Ahmad, how are you? Sandeep, good to see you as well. Good to see you, everybody. Anyway, so let's begin the session. Guys, when running the sessions for longer term purposes, a normal practice is to begin the session with a scanner, looking for different types of opportunities. Okay, and basically we got two groups of opportunities: the ones that are going to be debit trades, the ones that are going to be credit trades. The ones that are debit are going to be directional, either to the long side or to the short side. So we'll start with that today. Okay, you can see we got a collection of opportunities, blue color. That means that the last time I run the scan, they were not there. That's why it's blue color. So plenty of new opportunities, especially to the long side, now that many stocks, including equity indexes, have turned and are not in a down market anymore, not a down climate any longer. Even though we need to look at auto climate for the S&P 2 because it doesn't mean that it's going to go up forever, isn't it? So we need to be well aware of all of this. Okay. On the other hand, we have credit opportunities, purely non-directional here in the middle, and then the below part is kind of the same: neutral long, neutral short. It's kind of like the directionals, but instead of debit is credit trades. So here the emphasis is to make money on time passing. Apart from other factors, but basically time passing as long as the stock doesn't move much against you and ideally moves your way. Where the pure non-directional trades here in the middle, okay, those are the ones that normally pay the greatest amount of premium. This is when we execute iron condors, isn't it? Even though today, when I run the scanner for iron condors, as you can see, it was empty. And I did rerun it multiple times and it was empty all the time, which means that it's either options don't have that much premium any longer, or at least the options, I should say the stocks that meet our chart criteria don't have options that are pricey enough. Okay, notice how even though we are still dealing with 40% implied volatility levels, which is amazing, the fact is that not too long ago, like roughly a month ago, we were hitting the 80% mark. You can see here. So that was absolutely amazing, right? So we are not at those levels of premium any longer. another way to say that is that most of the options in the market are quite priced, and there is no option that is much more exaggeratedly priced, while the price movement of stocks is too directional for the scanner to identify pure non-directional opportunities. So we don't have that. We have one opportunity with Netflix that will you know what, maybe we can start with this one today, looking at Netflix for a neutral long, and then nothing on a neutral short. So again, the credit trades, okay, even though the VIX is quite high, unfortunately for the stocks that meet our criteria, the premium was not seen by the scanner as high enough. But Netflix, that was the only case. So we'll start with Netflix. We'll try to put together a credit spread on Netflix, and from there we will then move into the directional opportunities, okay? And that's what we're gonna do. Let me see, comments, questions. Hi Maria, how are you? Melanie, good to see you. Very nice, everybody. Cool. Okay, so loading Netflix here, okay? And while this is happening, I will also be turning on Option Station Pro. So Netflix is giving us, before I look at anything really, Netflix is giving us 44.90%. That's a very bad statistic here, isn't it, in the 55-minute time frame? So let me move to pre and post market, okay? And that is giving us 47, which is not enough for the non-directional or neutral opportunities. We need a minimum of 48. I don't know, we are very close, but we're not gonna make up 48 when it's not 48. It's under 48, so under means it's not good, and we're not gonna make up a trade. For directional opportunities, we need 50s, okay, 50%. For credit opportunities, okay, neutral or non-directional, we are okay with 48, but we don't get 48 with Netflix, no matter if we're using pre or post market or regular session. We don't. Therefore, we're just gonna pass. Okay. And also, by the way, amazing move on Netflix. Coinciding with so many people confined, and therefore potentially so many new customers for this company. Okay. But anyway, no opportunity to have a safe trade. Certainly, opportunity to be very greatly impacted by human emotions, which is not what we do. Many people are probably jumping on board now at 447, thinking Netflix is going to the moon. But the reality is that the institutional interest is limited. Okay, the reason why Netflix is moving up probably is because institutions are not selling, or selling very little, and they just keep rising the price, and the public, okay, the people that are buying the stock out of this massive euphoria, they're just happy to pay whatever the institutions want, and that's why that stock is moving up so fast. But technically, objectively, when you look at the stats, it's actually disappointing, and therefore, from a technical point of view, it is not a high quality trade. And this is not only that. Also, if you look at the climate, which is not needed in a neutral opportunity, but just to make an extra comment, we've been traveling in that direction for 18 candles, where probability suggests 5 should be the normal thing. So in other words, that stock is really behaving in a way that is way far away from normality, and is real. And if you are in, you're making money, congratulations. But when it comes to entering a trade, it is actually a low probability environment, okay? So instead, we're gonna be working with higher probability environment. So I moved to the scanner with directional longs. We also have a few directional shorts, okay? So why is it that we have so little amount of shorts compared to the longs? Well, take a look at the S&P. So what's happening to the S&P? The S&P is in an up climate. Blue dot, thick color, 7 candles out of 11. So the S&P is in another market, and based on stats, it should continue for a few more days at least, okay? And because the S&P is clearly pushing up, then you are left with only few stocks that are pushing down, okay? There are a few, but only a few, and therefore the quantity of stocks that show up on the scanner is 8 for the short side, where to the long side, instead of 8, we've got a total of 32 stocks, which is a better list. Okay, so it gives us more to choose from. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the longs, and I'm going to sort my list with the most expensive stock on the top and cheapest in the bottom. Okay, and we're going to be exploring those opportunities one at a time to see if those trades are valid or not. Because my fear, okay, and I guess that as I explain my fear, you will see it's common sense. My fear is that because the S&P has been already traveling for 7 days to the upside, some stocks may have started traveling to the upside before that, and therefore some stocks may have very exhausted climates. So even though we got 32 stocks on the list, we may only be able to deal with, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So we look into those which are the highest probability opportunities, and those are going to be the ones we plan, we execute, and then ignore the rest. Okay, no need to force trades. Okay, a stock is a stock, a trade is a trade. It's only one trade in our trading life, so no need to be emotionally attached to anything that we do. Ray, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Marianto, good to see you as well. My trading view daily on SPY says 7 out of 794. Yes, and this depends. Trading view has some how do I put it? Some power in the programming language that TradeStation doesn't have for certain functionalities, and vice versa. TradeStation has some power in easy language for certain functionalities that TradingView doesn't have. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that one thing that TradingView is doing that TradeStation doesn't is that when looking at the statistics, okay, TradeStation is running those stats based on the amount of bars on the chart, which in my case here is 500, where with TradingView it's a dynamic number, and it's probably larger than that, and therefore the statistics vary by a little bit. Okay, but again, it's not that critical because you have 8.90 something, I had like 10. Again, it's not that big as a difference in most of the cases, unless it's a very young stock that doesn't have much history. Okay, but that's the reason why it's a bit different. Okay, also, by the way, when we do the short-term sessions, isn't it, Melanie? And I'm sure you've seen it, right? So we use the radar screen for intraday to identify market opportunities with AutoClimate, right? And what happens at the time? We are also utilizing a different setting for number of bars on the radar screen, which is 200, versus the amount of bars that we have on the chart, which is 500. Okay, so the figures are also slightly different, but as I said, normally it's only a bit different. So not a big problem, because really we are using this a little bit like as a visual tool for us to know if we have a trade or not, and then if we don't, move into the next symbol from the list. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Good question, good observation, and I love those questions because it really shows so much, your involvement, your engagement, your hard work, your putting the work in place to get to those details. Okay, so I love that. I love to see that, really. Anyway, so here is Costco. Okay, the other thing I need to do. Let me bring it from my other computer screen. I need to load a chart on TradingView. So that way we're going to be able to assess earning dates. Okay, so I'm going to move to daily, and we started with Costco. So I'm just going to move to Costco here. Okay, so here is Costco, and you can see how earnings on Costco happen on May 29. Okay, May 29, that is giving us like a month and a half, or something like that, for us to reach our target. Okay, so it's okay. It's not a bad thing from that point of view. So we'll be looking into that. Okay, but again, the beginning part of the process, okay, should be with the climate, because the climate, as I said a minute ago, is going to be the quicker tool that gives you a yes or a no to should you keep working on planning this trade. Okay, so in this sense, we are dealing with a trade in a knob climate, okay, which is a blue and thick dot. That climate has been propagating already for 7 candles, and statistics suggest it should actually be 7 candles before it slows down. So in other words, this move seems to be quite exhausted. Okay, it could keep going a bit higher. You have seen me in sessions, especially when we do intraday trading and we deal with less markets. You have seen me suggest that a variation or a valid action would be, instead of saying no to the trade, go ahead and plan the trade, but instead of going for the full size, go for half of the size, because next candle will surpass 7, and therefore you start falling in a little bit of a territory which is a bit less likely. Okay, but again, because we got 32 stocks in the list, okay, initially I'm going to be a bit more purist and only go for climates that are quite at the beginning of their lives. That allows me for longer moves and therefore greater profits. Okay, in the theory world, and looking at the remaining parameters of the trade will confirm if it's only theory or is also the reality. Okay, So we have Lulu. Okay, we have Lulu. When looking at Lulu, we have a little bit more advantageous situation here with confirmed climate during 7 candles, but that one, notice that statistics suggest is going to be 9. Okay, so it seems that the prior one was 7 out of 7. This is 7 out of 9. So it's not like we are entering at the beginning of the climate, but certainly we are not entering at the end. Okay, so it's a valid entry. 201. Okay, 201.43. It's the average price, the gray line. So the question is, do we have UFOs at that price? And we care about UFOs with probabilities of 50% or more, because here we do have a UFO, that one right there, with line up very well with the 201 point something. But what's the problem? 47, it's below 50%. And because I am dealing with directional opportunities and therefore debit, so here I need to make sure I got the probability above 50%. So I'm going to move to pre and post market to see if I get better figures. And yes, indeed I do. I got 53%. That is very pleasant to see. And I still have this UFO between 202.29, 199.60, which clearly envelopes 201.43. So my friends, this is looking good. We should now continue the plan with Lulu because it's looking like we're going to have a proper setup to plan a trade to go long that particular stock. So notice what I've just done. I just maximized the daily time frame. Why? Because my plan is now to turn on AutoUFOs in the daily time frame. Why? So I can set my target. Okay. Notice how the current price 202.79, it's already hitting that UFO. Okay. So the rules say that if price is already where a UFO is available, then the target will be the next UFO. Okay, and the rationale behind this is because you are in an up climate, the climate is not exhausted yet, and we know in an up climate, sell on field orders tend to be canceled, which makes that UFO weaker. And on top of that, the fact that price is already in the UFO means that some of those on-field orders are being filled as we speak. Therefore, the probability of that UFO to do something impressive and bring the price of Lulu down is very little by itself. Different story is if the whole market falls down, then of course all the stocks follow the market because we said it a million times. Stocks are fragile, isn't it? So they follow the sectors, they follow the markets, they follow competitor stocks. So you always need to be greatly careful there, okay? But in any case, this is going to be our target, the UFO above, by following our rules, and that would imply a target located at 237.04. Okay, so for Lulu, 237.04, that would be our target. Okay, and therefore, knowing that information, we are now going to continue with the plan for the trade. So let me disable, not there. Let me disable Auto UFO and go back to my 55-minute time frame. I know this is going to be my entry UFO. So I got the values 202.72. This is the very top of the UFO. 202.72, that's going to be my entry. Okay. So let's bring Option Station Pro and let's begin the planning with Lulu, okay, for this trade. Okay. By the way, anyone took the GILD Iron Condor? Okay, because this Iron Condor that we put together the other day, we collected $77 of credit. Okay, the expiration date is tomorrow, April 17, and right now this Iron Condor is producing 75.5. Okay, in other words, you can either close it or leave it alone, and it will expire. And this was a nice trade. Okay, so if you took it, well done. Since tomorrow is the expiration, I just wanted to flash it very quickly. So you make sure you're all aware that this trade concludes tomorrow. Okay, the one that we have since a long time ago with BMY also expires tomorrow. Okay, we had the 70 call there. Okay, I'll take a look at the chart of BMY later so I can review what happened. But basically, I'm sure that some of you are in the trade. So what happened there is that this trade was executed at the very beginning before everybody got panicky about the coronavirus. So basically, we purchased that call and the stock went down all the way. And even though it's recovered a lot, the problem is that this option expires tomorrow. So this option will be a losing opportunity. It's going to be a losing trade. And we pay $94 for this call. And therefore, this trade will lose $94. Okay. Okay, but coming back to Lulu, okay, so we have our option chain here. Uh, mm, we are gonna input the prices. Okay, so we said the target for Lulu is gonna be 237.04. Okay, we said the entry for Lulu is gonna be 202.72. Okay, and the third price slice, I don't need it, so I'll get rid of it. So 202.72, 237.04. This is entry and this is target. Okay, and now what I need to do is to continue working on the plan to see what type of option strategy I'm gonna use and what are the parameters. Okay, so with Lulu, one thing we will need to check as well is when are the next earnings, which the next earnings are happening on June 10. So June 10 may be the expiration date for us to use. Okay, we need to double check that. I'm going to do that in a minute. But before that, we need to go back to TradeStation to calculate the distance between the target at 237.04 and the entry at 202.72, okay, which is $34, and compare the distance between entry to target, compare that with the daily ATR of that stock, which is the daily, hey, what is the daily ATR? Okay, interesting. So I'm not sure why the scale is not automatically adjusted here. I'll need to look at that later on. It's not important now. So anyway, 9.02 is the daily ATR of that stock. So, you know, and at the current time, as an average, that stock is traveling at a speed of $9.02 a day, which is not a joke. Okay, like many other stocks as well. There's plenty of volatility. And if you were to divide 34.32 by 9.02, that would tell you that you need 3.8 ATRs to get to the target. And our rule is to use 7 days per daily ATR, which is 26 days to get to the target, okay, 27 days. So if I look at the option chain and I look at 27, it's going to be 29. So that would place me as a trader utilizing May 15 expiration. Okay, May 15 expiration gives me enough time, but we also want to benefit from the effect of having the value of the option gain value as earnings approach. And because we said earnings are on June 10, since expiration dates around June 10 are providing, okay, and we got June 19, are providing in this case 64, which is more than 29. So certainly if 29 was enough, 64 is even more. And the beauty with 64 is that now I will benefit from a greater increase of premium as earnings approach if the stock was to take a long time to get to the target. But at the same time, I also benefit from a lesser time decay. This trade seems to be ideal. What's the downside? Of course, if I use June, it's going to be more expensive than if I use May. The more time to expiration, the greater the premium for the options contracts. We know that. But again, it's going to be the ideal setup based on the rules that we have. Therefore, that's the way to do it. Okay. Mark, you read my mind with the earnings. Very good. Lilan, I took it, still in it. Very good. Perfect. Perfect, Lilan. Very nice. So, guys, let's do this. I'm going to right click and analyze and buy a vertical spread. This would be the typical option strategy I would want to use in a directional play, a vertical spread. Notice I clicked on the call side, so it's going to be a vertical debit spread with calls. So it's going to be a bull call spread. But at the same time, apart from doing that, okay, I also want to come back here and I'm just going to click on analyze and buy a simple call, okay, a single call, I should say, which is only one call, okay, and I don't know what's going to be best, if to either buy the call by itself here or buy those two calls together, buy a call, sell a call, which is a vertical spread. I don't know what's going to be better yet. I'm going to have to check and uncheck and adjust. And then as I look at all my Greeks and other parameters, I will be able to conclude what is the ideal trade. And I will phrase it for you and I will explain why. And then you guys will be able to execute this trade in the optimal manner. Okay. So let's do that. Okay, let's do that. First, I will disable the call and I will only leave as checkmarked the vertical. Okay. And I'm coming back to the chart just to rephrase very quickly what are the rules that we have when it comes to putting an options trade together. So the rules that we have is when putting a vertical call spread is that we want to sell calls, okay, beyond the target. Okay, the target is 237.04. Okay, and therefore it seems to me that probably a good idea would be to sell the 240 call or something like that. I mean, I do need to go back to the option chain to see what's available, but I believe given the strike price increment, which are $10 at a time, so the 240 would be the one to be sold. Okay, 240. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one. What else? Apart from that, okay, the other parts of the spread, it's apart from selling that call, we also want to buy a call. Okay, and the call we're gonna buy, okay, the rules that we use is that it has to be between, not beyond, between the entry and the target. Okay, the entry and the target, and the entry being 202.72. So it seems logical to think that, a good initial attempt maybe would be to buy, I don't know, maybe the 210. Okay, so buy the 210 call or something like that, and maybe we do the 210 to 40, and that's gonna work. Okay, so we'll see. We need to adjust it, and I will start with the 240, which is the one which is clear, because beyond the target, it's easier to define that between, because between is what? It's gonna be 210, 220, 230. So where between? There is a lot of betweens, isn't it? Where beyond the target, I can start where the target is, just above, which is 240, and from there begin my adjustments. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to analysis. Remember, I have unchecked the single one, so I only have a check on the vertical. So what I'm adjusting now is the vertical, and in the row we have the red color cell -1. I'm gonna move that one to 40 based on what I just said on the chart. Okay, and the one I buy, I'm gonna move it to 10, which is what I said. Okay, so if I do that, what happens? Okay, because if I don't do 210, I could do 200. Okay, but 200 is not between entry and target. Okay, entry is 202, target is 237, so 200 is below the entry, not between. Okay, so 200 I cannot. So if I don't do 210, I'm gonna have to do 220. Okay, so I want to start with the 210 and see what happens. Okay, I want to start with the 210 and see what happens, and the 240 the way we said. And what's the problem I have? It's not a big problem. I mean, problem is too big as a word at this case. But what is the little tiny problem I have? Well, I got a delta at entry, which is 24.94. And the reason why I'm calling this a tiny problem is because the requirement of our rules suggest that we need to start with deltas which are at least 30. Okay, and ideally we want to be as close to 30 as possible. So how can I fix that? Well, if I move the 210 to 220, that will diminish the delta. Okay, so let me try. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. It went to 16. So I don't want to do that. Okay, so what is the other way then? Well, if moving the 210 up diminishes the delta, then moving the 240 up to 250 in this case, that will increase the delta. That should do 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Now my delta is 31.72, and certainly that is looking good to me. Okay, this is certainly looking good to me. So if I do this trade the way I have it here, okay, I get a delta around 30 at the entry. That's valid. I get a positive gamma at entry. That's the other part of the rule. You want positive delta and positive gamma, which that one is a sure thing. Okay. If it's a sure thing with the debit trades that this option is gonna be with positive gamma, but then the gamma at the target, okay, we cannot always accomplish that gamma to be positive. We cannot always accomplish that, and it really depends a lot with the strike price increments, okay. Because the more strike price increments we have, the more precise we can be, okay. But in a perfect world, we want that gamma to be positive too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the strikes a bit more to see if I accomplish having a delta of 30 and gamma to be positive in both cases. Let's see if that's the case. So if I do 260 to 20, maybe I will accomplish that. Okay, if I move to 220, okay, that's making a little improvement on that gamma. Okay, if I move to 260, Okay, uh, I'm more or less around 30, not yet. Okay, I get a bit more gamma at the beginning, but I'm still negative gamma at the end. Okay, so you know what? It's not making a big difference, and again, it has to do a lot with the strike price increments being $10 at a time. So I'm just gonna go back to the initial plan that was 210, 250, with my delta being 30, my gamma positive at the entry, and then slightly negative when we get to the target point. Okay, so that's not ideal, but it's not a big deal. Okay, and therefore this would be a valid possibility for this trade. At this moment in time. Okay, cool. Let me see. Let me customize columns here. I'm not sure why I got some of the prices that should be there are not. So I want to show the bid. I want to show the mid. I want to show the ask. Okay, and I want to show the market value. Okay, so well, that's kind of the same as the price. Okay, so let me bring this up. Okay, because again, I want to look at how liquid is that spread. Okay, the fact that we got $10 strike price increments is not a good news when it comes to liquidity. When options are very liquid, you got $5 price increments, $1 strike price increments. Okay, a clear example of that is the SPY ETF. When you look at the options, they're amazing, right? Well, here we got $10. So that is kind of getting me thinking about, oh, do we have liquidity enough here? Okay, that's an extra additional thought. Um, I mean, LULU is normally quite liquid, so I think we're gonna be okay. But I do want to look at the difference between the bid and the ask for the whole spread, not only for one options contract. We got two options contracts involved in the vertical spread. So let's take a look at what we have, okay? And we have 1570 to 1675 with the midpoint 1620. Well, there is a little bit of lack of liquidity, I have to say. Okay, there is a little bit of lack of liquidity. It's not like the worst situation in the world, but there is indeed a little bit of lack of liquidity. Okay, so I'm not too happy with that, but I will say as of now, what we put together is valid. So for now, I will just leave it the way it is. Okay. Now I'm gonna uncheck the vertical, and now I want to adjust the single call to see what is best in the end when I compare both trades. Okay. So notice now that when I check mark the single call and I have unchecked, okay, I have unchecked the vertical. So notice that my delta at entry is 40 if I was to use the 240 call, the 220 call. So that's too much delta, and therefore that would force me and push me to move it up to 230. Okay, and that is now providing. Okay, now this is providing around 31, 30 delta, which is what I need. And now I got positive values everywhere. That's a given. When you buy an option by itself, okay, buy a naked option, you will always have positive gammas. Okay, so no need to talk about this. So that's good. Okay. Now, what's the situation? Okay, well, to be honest, I'm looking at this trade as much more convenient. Okay, much more convenient. Why is that? Well, because first, we got positive gamma all the time, so you will have a better improvement. Second, we do get hurt at a rate of $12 a day, where if you look at the vertical, let me check the vertical, uncheck the single, the theta of the vertical is half, okay, $7 instead of 12. So you get less time decay pain on the vertical than the single call, okay? But at the same time, you got the positive gamma in your favor, okay? And what I like the best is that the price is so much less, okay? So much less in this particular case. And of course, you may say, wait a minute, it's so much less because you are using the 230, which is way out of the money compared to the 210. Yeah, of course, that's the case. But again, we are entering a trade which is supposed to last for 29 days, given our ATR estimation. We got 64 days to go. So we should be okay from that point of view, and we should not exhaust all the time built in the option in a normal case. Also, the other reason is the slippage. Okay, from 1180 to 1225, we are talking about basically 45 cents of slippage. Of course, you will attempt to get the midpoint. Okay, where if you were to look at 115.55 to 116.75, you got $1.20 of slippage. Okay, so $1.20 of slippage, you know, That's a lot of theta that you could afford to be lost, that you're not going to lose because you pay less for the option and you never suffer that slippage. Okay, so in other words, because of all those reasons, okay, in a normal case, the vertical would normally look better, or we would be happier if the vertical looks better. But in this case, it's not the case. So therefore, the right trade to be taken is to buy a call on Lulu. Okay, buy a call on Lulu, which to be precise is going to be to buy the 19 June expiration 230 call. This is going to be the trade to be taken. But remember, there is a condition. Don't buy it now. It's okay to place the order now. I'm going to trade it now, but don't buy it now. Okay, I'm going to make it day order. Okay, so order only for today. It's okay to place the order now, but you need an activation rule. That's what I mean when I say don't buy it now. So we need to have a rule based on Lulu, where the moment Lulu drops to 202.72, then we want the activation rule to trigger this options trade, and then it's okay for you to go ahead and buy. Now, in a normal case, I would just click OK, and then I would come here, and as you can see, I am using a simulated account in this case. So to guarantee the field, I would go for market. Okay. Now, if you do that, you are now just guaranteed to lose the whole spread between the bid and the ask. You get the whole slippage guaranteed. So I don't want to do that. Okay, I want to make this a little better. Okay, and therefore I will not place the order this way. I'm gonna find another way to place this order, which is gonna be a bit more interesting. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is put my mouse on top of it, right click, okay, to copy the symbol. Okay, copy the symbol. Options have symbols, just like stocks. They are lengthy, and it's not only about convenience. Is that the fact if the option symbol is lengthy and you type it manually, the probability of making a mistake is high, and next thing you know, you trade the wrong options contract. So instead, I'm just gonna copy the symbol, go back to TradeStation, get into my trade bar for options, okay, and here I'm gonna paste the symbol, which is that very lengthy thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go with one contract. Okay, by the way, before I complete placing the order, what's the price of one contract? So the midpoint is 12. Okay, 12 times 100, that's $1,200. So that would be the risk attached to this trade. And of course, keep this in mind. If this is too much risk for you, then don't take the trade. But by the way, this is the risk of the trade if you take the trade now. We are not taking the trade now. We will take the trade when the stock drops to 202. So at that time, the expected price for the option is $800. So when you buy an option, the most you can lose is what you pay for the option. So what is your risk? $800, around $800. Okay, so if you're okay with $800 of risk, go for it. If not, pass, and we're gonna look for other trades after I'm done with this one. So back to TradeStation, right? So I was using the order bar. I got my symbol. I'm gonna go with one contract, okay? And what you wanna do here, okay? What you could do here, it's to be a bit more intelligent when it comes to setting the limit price, okay? So you have automatic functions to get an automatic limit price, which is not a market price, okay? So you could say, hey, I want a limit price, but I want it to be automatic, okay? And back to Option Station Pro, since the whole spread goes from 65 to 10, which is 45 cents. Let's say you want to shave half, and that's around 20 cents. So I'm going to go with 20. So what you would do is you would say, okay, I want an automatic price that will shave 20 cents for me. Why is it not? Oh, change increment. Here we go. So I would want to shave 20 cents. Okay. So what this is doing, okay, is buy the option, but when you place an order to buy the option, take whatever price is available at the moment, reduce it by 20 cents. That's what shaving means. Okay. And then place the order. So I'm going to make this a day order. Okay. And of course, I need to hit my advance button to add the activation rule I was doing before, okay, with a price for Lulu. which is when LULU goes below or equal to 202.72. Okay, so in other words, I got a rule where if LULU goes below or equal than 202.72, the order will be activated and therefore will be sent to the market. And when sent to the market, this order will be sent as whatever price is available now, take it and reduce it by 20 cents. And that's what you send. And that order is valid for 1 day only. Okay, so I'm going to click buy to open. You now have here a confirmation box that says everything I just said. Okay, buy to open one of the LULU June 2020 230 call and shave 20 cents. Okay, but do it only if LULU reaches that entry price condition. Okay, do you want to do that? Yes or no? I'm going to click yes. 1, 2, 3. And my friends, the trade is now in. I can go ahead and take a look at the trade here on the received 2 days order received panel on TradeStation. You can see the LULU trade there waiting to get filled. Okay, so guys, any question, you let me know. I'm gonna go for the next trade now. I don't see any questions. So I mean, in one hand is good. In the other hand, I do appreciate very, very much when you guys give me a little bit of feedback. So everybody, please go ahead, give me a little bit of feedback. How is it going? Let me know if everything was well understood. I'll have a sip of water and back to you. Okay, so now very quick before I look at the next trade, I said I would check BMY. So let's take a look at BMY. Okay, pending data, so it's being downloaded. Ruben, all well understood. Mark, fine. Very nice. Perfect, everybody. So I'm just gonna wait here for the PD to go away. And while I'm waiting for this, since I'm looking at the time in the session and time is passing, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also get my list of stocks ready to be shorted, okay? And I'm gonna look to plan trades on those, okay? So that way, at least we look at one trade using calls, one trade using puts, okay? So what do we have? Okay, well, when we started the trade, that market was up here, okay, or maybe up here. Yeah, I think actually that was the case. So I remember we started and it started going against us, and then it started moving our way, and there was a moment in time where it was looking very good, but then next thing you know, coronavirus took place, okay, and now it's recovering, but unfortunately the options are expiring tomorrow, so this trade will not be profitable. Okay, I know some of you took the trade, okay, and certainly this is something to be expected in some of the trades that we take. Okay, hopefully you guys, I say it very often, and certainly it's healthy for me to say and for you to listen. So because every time we got different students in the sessions, and many of you are watching this recorded as well. So I need to say what I'm about to say, which you may have heard before, which is that stocks are fragile. So when you build a portfolio of stocks, you should be utilizing long and short positions at the same time and run a portfolio which is diversified in that way, with positive deltas and negative deltas and lots of positive gamma. And if you do that, the beauty is that when you have a movement like that and a stock is being hurt, such as BMY, then other stocks that you got to the short side paid you at that moment in time. And therefore, you lost on that one, but other stocks paid you. And just like, in the move up, the stocks that you were short are probably hurting you while other stocks are paying you. Okay. And that way you run a portfolio that will produce net results, which may be a bit shyer, but at the same time, the consistency of the results and the safety that you produce for your portfolio will be much more superior. And certainly, that's in my mind the way to do it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And by the way, we have sessions on the YouTube channel where we talk about this. Okay, but anyway, so PXD. Okay, so let's begin with PXD, Pioneer Natural Resources. We'll start with the planning. I'll take a quick look at the earnings as well. So while the chart is loading, we can do that. So PXD is set to report earnings on May 12th. So this is a little less than 1 month of time. To be honest, I'm not too happy about that. I would like to give myself a bit more time. So I'm going to go for next one, which is Z. Okay, so Zillow Group. Oh, earnings seem to be very close, even before the end of May. Okay, so that's not going to be good. YNDX. I never trade that stock, so I'm not sure about the liquidity of the options. So YNDX, well, earning very, very close, okay, on the 28th, okay. So we will pass on that one. MedLife, MET, that one is after May 7. For now, the one looking the best is PXD actually, but I still feel that May 12 is a bit too soon. So what about, well, that's an ETF, sorry for that one, AIG. And this is, by the way, the last one I'm going to look at because the other ones are very low price points, okay? And so I'm not too happy about that. So AIG is reporting at the end of April, okay? So we are giving ourselves very little time to reach targets, okay? So that's not ideal. Therefore, I'm just going to skip those stocks, okay? Because then now, we get into $15.23. So, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it's not really that advantageous anymore, okay? So let's look at another opportunity to go long. We looked at LULU. AGN is less liquid. So let me check at Johnson and Johnson. That is normally a good stock from a liquidity point of view. So let's take a look at all the parameters. Well, we're not going to look at Johnson and Johnson. Okay, we got 12 candles into climate. There should be 7. So this is way too overextended. I'm looking at stocks that are the most liquid. Okay, so what about Nike? So Nike is 7 out of 8. Okay, so could be okay, but not the best of the best. Okay, not the best of the best. Okay, even though the trade actually took place earlier today. Okay, that green UFO there at 85, 84, it's actually enveloping the EMA at 84. So if you got in earlier today, it's fine because it's 7 out of 8. Okay, but again, I would like to ideally find setups which are a bit more positive. Okay, finally we got Bristol Myers here. What do we have? 14 out of 6. So this is very exhausted. Oracle, we got 14 out of 6. So this is what I was mentioning before at the beginning, okay, which I was expecting many stocks to be in that situation. Since the S&P was 7 candles into the climate, let's face it, the S&P is made of stocks. So for that to happen to the S&P, many stocks had to move, and maybe sooner. So that's unfortunately, my thinking was correct. So what about Pfizer? We got 14 out of 6. PSX, we got 9 out of 8. BH6, that one is very cheap. 7 out of 9, but the climate is not confirmed. Okay, notice how the dot went from thick to thin. Okay, so the climate is not confirmed, so we're not gonna deal with this. Okay, so let's go back to the top of the list and let's be less picky then. So AGN, what do we have there? So we have 12 out of 8, so we'll pass. Okta. So Okta, we got 7 out of 6. So again, we extended. Okay, when I mention those numbers, I'm looking down here, okay, just in case I'm going too fast. Those are the figures I am looking for. MLNX. Wow, 17 out of 10, crazily extended. DocuSign. I guess this company is doing quite well too. Many company agreements are being done online. So 7 out of 8. Okay, so that could be another candidate. 94. Let's let's finish the probabilities. Okay, so we got 48. Okay, so that's not good. And with a regular session 53, and we are looking at 94 UFOs, and unfortunately this is 93. Okay, so no, we don't have a proper setup for DocuSign. What about T-Mobile? 7 out of 540, so 7 out of 6, so not good. ZS, 21 out of 8. TSN, 7 out of 9. Let's wait for the probabilities. So 53% is fine. The average is the current price. It's 59. We don't have a UFO at the current price. What about if we move to pre and post market? We got 44. Then it's not valid. Okay, it's not valid. BMY, we talked about it. GIS. Let me see a question here from Andrew. Hey guys, so as not to disturb, Jose, can anyone tell me a YouTube video detailing the too far, too fast rule, please? No problem. This is not disturbing, Andrew. That's I really appreciate your approach to the question, but all good. So you have on the YouTube sharpening playlist, you have some videos that are named as flowchart and review. Those are the videos that you want to check. Okay, flowchart and review. So what do we have? 13 out of 5. Okay, so that's not good. Oracle, we talked about it. SE, 7 out of 10. So that is looking good. Let's wait for the pending data. So we look at the final probability. So 54%, that's good. We are looking for UFOs around 48. And around 48, this is the top of this is 4710. Okay, and the bottom part of this is 4811. So that's fine. We could certainly use this cluster of UFOs, this group UFOs here, to be able to plan the trade. Okay, so good. What about pre and post market? Is it better or worse? 54 becomes 49 is worse. So we're gonna use regular session for SE. So let's go for it. We got 8 minutes to plan this trade. So first of all, let's maximize the daily time frame. Let's turn on AutoUFOs. Okay, and let's see where the target would be based on red UFOs. Okay, and it seems that there is nothing. So the question is that stock making all times high? So when moving to the monthly time frame, you can see the answer is yes. Okay, so that stock is making all times high, and that is why there are no red UFOs available. Okay, so that's a fantastic news. I mean, it may imply a bit more management of the trade, isn't it? Because there is no target, so you have to track it every day if you wish. But at the same time, it does open up the room for a major breakout, okay? And a major breakout may be followed by an incredible move and therefore a very nice profit, okay? So there's, there's nothing to stop the price from going higher if you wish, okay? So that's nice to see. So anyway, so what will we do then? We're gonna plan a trade. The top of this UFO is gonna be the entry, that is 50.04. That's the top of the UFO, 50.04. So I'm just gonna input SE on the option chain. And this trade is gonna be simpler because as the stock makes all times high, we are not gonna do a spread. Okay, we are just gonna go ahead and utilize one call. So therefore, no need to look at what the target is. Okay, I just need to look at what the entry is. Okay, and we said it's gonna be 50.04. That's gonna be the entry. Okay, so here's the entry. And when it comes to which call to use, then of course we need to, oh, I just click on the wrong place. We need to look at the earnings. Okay, and maybe before getting excited with the option, I should have checked. Okay, so earnings are happening in May 13. Okay, which again, it's a bit close. Okay, it's a bit close. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, so we don't have many other opportunities. So I'm gonna be using May 15 expiration, which is 29 days from now. For sure, you have to be out prior to earnings. Okay, so if you haven't moved too much, well, still take the trade out. Okay, because that's it. That's what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna right click to analyze and buy. What happens if we buy a call on that stock? Okay, the entry price is 50. So you would say, 50 could make sense as a initial place where to analyze the trade, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense at all because at the money options produce 50 deltas and we need 30. So from 50, I need to move higher. And notice how below 50, I got 49, 48, 47. So I can be really precise. But above 50, it jumps all the way to 55 or 60. So I think that 55 probably will do the job. Okay, look at that. 55 provides 30 delta. Okay, and there is nothing else for me to adjust or do here. This is what it is. Okay, so now from a liquidity point of view, the bid is 240, the ask is 255. So we have 15 cents of spread. Okay, so let's say you want to shave half of 15, that is 7. Okay, but again, many of the options will get you a rejected order if you place something like 7. So instead, I'm going to go for 5 cents. So I would like to save 5 cents of the spread. Okay, or if you want to risk missing on the trade, so it's okay to go for 10, but you may miss the trade. So I'll do it with 5. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click to copy symbol, go to the trade bar, go to options, paste the symbol. Instead of LULU, right click and paste the symbol. I'm going to go with 1. Instead of shaving 20 cents, I just told you I want to shave 5, so change increment to 5. Okay, and we got the order. That's the same activation rule. That's going to be different. It's not going to be based on LULU. It's going to be based on SE. So SE add, and the rule is going to be similar though, because it's going to be lesser than or equal to, and this is going to be 50.04. Okay, so quick zoom in, 50.04. Okay, that's the rule. Together with that, we have the order bar showing us the symbol, right? Showing us the quantity, and then the special shaving price for a limit order based on the automatic algo of TradeStation, where we can shave 5 cents. So that's going to be the trade to be executed. So I'm going to buy to open. We have the confirmation window one more time. Okay, so SE May 55 call, shave 5 cents with a limit order, the order only, so we can reevaluate this every day, but don't send the order to the market unless SE drops below or equal to 50.04. Okay, so that is the plan for the trade. So I'm going to click yes, 1, 2, 3. So the order is in the system. And going back to the manage tab, we can see now we got the LULU trade, the SE trade, and we need the market to fall hard to get filled today from 53 to 50. You may say, oh my God, that's a lot. Well, yeah, I agree, it's a lot, but it could happen in a matter of minutes. I mean, we've seen a lot of those things happen in the past weeks. Okay, so that's the trade, that's the plan. Don't divert from it, and and let the market do its thing. Okay, and every day you keep doing that, and that should put you in a good position, following all those rules, managing your portfolio, your risk, etc., etc. Vishal, I'm getting you now. I didn't realize you're typing until now, but yes. So you got 17th of April, so you got a 7 there. We were supposed to um, shave 7 cents. Okay, um, you know, if you think about it, you got it everywhere. Okay, so certainly in many places, You have it here again. Then you can take 2 and 5 and you can add them, and that's 7 2. Or you can take 10 minus 3 and that's also 7. So yeah, it's something. It's something. And for you guys wondering what happened to Jose, let me just tell you, Vishal knows what I'm doing. Just a little humor here, everybody. Or maybe two time being confined at home for everyone. Anyway, so the session is over for today. Hopefully the session was good. You guys were able to follow. Just missing on a little bit of non-directional trading in the recent times. Of course, we talked about this before. When volatility is so crazy, it does create levels of premiums that are amazing, but at the same time, it also creates real volatility, historical volatility on the charts, and therefore, pure non-directional trading, it's difficult. And then we did have an opportunity with Netflix to do a credit spread, but unfortunately, the stats were not giving us the performance that we need, and therefore we decided to discard the trade as we do professionally. So anyway, putting on the side that you may still have questions about number 7, we'll call it a day. I will wait 7 seconds and stop the streaming. You guys take care. I will see you in the next one. Have a good week. Keep up the good work, guys. I'm loving your emails and your growth, your interaction, everything else. So keep up the good work, guys. That's the way to do it. And if you're at home and you got less to do or nothing to do, or you better find something to do to go crazy and lose sanity, this is a fantastic time to do things such as backtesting, practicing your methodologies, maybe rewriting your trading plan or writing a trading plan if you don't have it finished, things like that. Okay, so count on us. If you have questions, we'll be around. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.